This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael, I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Sun Valley Serenade, a musical romantic comedy from 1941 directed by H. Bruce Humberstone. Yep, that's the name. Anyways, it focuses on the antics of a fictionalized version of the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and more specifically, the hijinks that occur to the band's pianist, Tom, who is made to take in a foreign refugee in a stunt set up by the band's publicity manager. However, everybody is surprised to find that their new ward is not a child, but a young Norwegian woman named Karen who is immediately entranced by her sponsor. It's a one-sided romance that complicates things for Tom, who is not only joining the band in Sun Valley, Idaho to perform at a ski resort, but is already in a relationship with their newly acquired vocalist, Vivian. It's a pretty simple story of a love triangle gone wacky, though that's probably just a nice way of saying that this is another sort of movie that dedicates more time to musical performance and escapism than the actual story or the characters involved. The Glenn Miller Orchestra hardly goes underutilized, with a solid amount of time spent on the band as they play songs new and old, and in one or two instances adding a dance routine to the mix. That in itself makes use of lead actress Sonja Henie's skills as a champion figure skater, as well as the electrifying energy of the Nicholas brothers, who I've seen a few times before. But these scenes are sadly come and go, without any real sense of integration into the story, and basically just being filler material. In fact, if you cut down or cut out these song and dance numbers, the actual storyline probably clocks in under an hour from start to finish. Obviously, the actual depth of the characters takes a hit, leaning more into a screwball sort of direction, but without any strong moments that truly connect Tom and Karen beyond shared interests. I suppose that's how screwball romances are supposed to work, but it could still try a bit harder to have at least something cut deeper. Still, it's less about telling a truly believable romantic story, and more about setting that story somewhere you'd like to have such an adventure. Sun Valley Serenade makes a pretty good use of its location, at least whenever it's actually shot on location. It's pretty clear that the movie was filmed on set pieces most of the time, particularly interiors, but there are still a few outdoor scenes that showcase the grandeur of the resort and its slopes. It's understandable why they couldn't film everything on location, but it doesn't help when there are a few clear cuts between a stage set or a rear projection screen, and goes right back to location footage. Cinematography and editing and the general construction of the movie is pretty standard for its time, sticking with flat shots and few angles, as well as long wide takes and one-shot performances for the musical numbers, and otherwise keeping the overall story paced out pretty loosely and linearly. It's not a bad thing, at least in this context, since it's not trying to be something to think too hard about. I think I've been harsh on screwball comedies in the past when it comes to how well they work as stories, but it kind of ignores the reasons why they're made and who they're made for. Even if its characters turn their sights on others at the drop of a hat, and even if the story is more of an excuse to move from one set to another to sing and dance to the latest hit singles, it's still gonna hit the right vibe for somebody who just wants to see a world that may or may not be worth living in, but at least seems like a happier place. Sun Valley Serenade, H. Bruce Humberstone, 1941. 3 stars. I'd say it's worth giving a watch. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I have to remember that escapism is a thing. I've probably been too focused on whether or not movies are outright good or bad, and not on what the audience is supposed to get out of it. I should be taking notes.